Hello.
Hello. Dancing.
Dancing in the clouds. Yes.
Yes. Yes. I love the title that you put when you told me that you put when you hide us in the clouds.
Wait, I think your Wi-Fi is cutting out. Oops.
But you hear me?
Yes, now I can hear you.
Okay, you can hear me.
Yeah.
That you told me that you put when you hide us in the clouds. Because
Yeah.
that's what I feel like so much right now. Especially now with I mean, it's always like this, but now with the access is in kind of,
Hmm.
that it's like, and I think we talked about it a few days ago that I was saying for me, business, it's so like you need to control it, na na na. And then to allow that letting go of control with business, like, okay, with relationships or something, maybe you can do it, but in business,
Yeah. And it's exactly like the title when your head is in the clouds. And so many creative people have like you say, how can I be successful in business with with my kind of head? Like I cannot really concentrate. I cannot be linear. I start with A and then I want to jump to Y and then maybe do Z again.
mm-hmm.
And then there's so many judgments of creative people, but it's like exactly that is how we are successful,
Mm-hmm.
not by trying to have our feet on the ground and be normal and concentrate and do linear, but by being like all over the place. Like when I create, I've always been all over the place. And
Mm-hmm. Literally, right?
yeah.
I feel like you're always like, hey, now I'm in Austria, now I'm in Italy, now I'm here.
Yeah, yeah, also right, also country wise all over the place, definitely. And also in my way of functioning. And it's like I even like when I what's so funny, when I worked in psychiatry as a psychologist, I learned to do those tests, the different psychology tests. And my colleague did the test for ADHD on me. And he's like, can I tell you something? You do classify for ADHD? And I'm like, yeah, well, that's, I'm like, thank you for a compliment. But that's like, learn, like if you're a creative person and you think your heads are in the clouds and you're like, I'm all over the place and I can't even think straight, like how can I be successful in business? You can, if you stop judging you, if you learn to use exactly your way of functioning, first acknowledge your way of functioning, and then also start using your unique way of functioning, um, in a way where you can have fun with it, you can enjoy it, you can go, okay, I'm going to start by writing an email, and oh, I want to call this person, and then you go back to the email, oh, however. But it's like it can be so much fun if we don't try to be linear. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's one of I mean, yeah, we're talking about business done different,
Yes.
the
Yes, business is
tasks
different.
or the tools or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think that that's what comes with it. That I don't know. I have so many people, then friends, family, whoever, who are like, "How can you not know what you're gonna do tomorrow?" And I'm like, by now I have ease with it, but I mean, I sometimes still go into making myself wrong or being like, "Oh, I'm not productive enough," whatever. I mean,
Wow.
what does productive even mean? You know?
Wow, that's a key word. You just said the key word, productive, because there's so many judgments about that people have, especially creative people who are different, who are not like normal. They have so many judgments about not being productive enough. And then if you have the judgment that you're not productive enough, what are you doing? Like you invent things that you need to do that don't really lead anywhere, that just create like work and energy required from you and your body. But they're like, yeah, they create something, but it's like, it's like so much work for so little effort. So that is something where I really like, I've been exploring this area so much. And there's even in the book, like there's a book that Gary Douglas and I wrote together. It's called Advanced Pragmatic Psychology. And in that book, there's a chapter about true productivity. And I mean that book, the book Gary and I wrote, is it's from a pragmatic psychology class that Gary and I facilitated many years ago. And so, and I remember when we talked about this topic in class, like the true productivity is not what we think it is, what we've learned from our parents' culture, etc. That I have to get things done, and I started something, and I have to like I start a project, and I have to finish it, and I have to force it into existence. True productivity is something totally different. It's knowing what is required when. It's elegance. It's using as little effort as possible to create as much as possible. But for that, you gotta know what you know, and you gotta trust your knowing. So, for example, I talked with a woman the other day, and she was worried about her son, that he didn't study enough in school. He wasn't productive enough from her point of view, as many moms think about their children. And she said, well, he only studies like 10 minutes or something before every test. Like, I am so worried he's going to be lazy when he's grown up. And I'm like, so how did it go? He studied 10 minutes. How did the test go? He made it. And I'm like, so what exactly is the problem? Well, I'm worried that he's going to be lazy when he grows up. And I'm like, you already have a person who is smart enough to know what is required to make things work. Like, he already has a knowing, and he trusts his knowing. He knows what energy and what to do to make it work. How brilliant is this? Maybe you want to acknowledge that there's people doing seminar after seminar to get to that point. But that's like a big element of productivity, the ease of getting things moving. It's what I learned starting like with exploring this topic is there's so much less effort required than we think in most cases. But there's a lot of receiving required. Like if you want
Yeah.
to create bigger businesses, you have to first know what you know, trust your knowing. You got to open up to receive, like truly receive from the whole universe, and trust that you ask, you shall receive if you choose to receive. And I mean, I've seen this in when I started, the business. I was the only person running it in the beginning, of course, as we all are. And then it started to grow, and I added people. I'm like, oh my God, like I have to receive from these people. Like they do things for me. Oh my God, it's so luxurious. I don't know. They do things for me. Oh my God, like this is so huge. I don't have to do it all. I have someone who contributes to me. And I noticed how I tried to control a lot of this in the beginning. I might still do it. But when you see it, you can change it in a moment. But then, like controlling it by, I remember going, okay, I have already given them 2 assignments. Let them first do this, and then maybe I can give them more. So I'm not like, how do you say, like burdening them with too much. Talk about control, that was so funny to see. And then I started to ask questions also with the people that I work with, and realize, okay, how much more could I actually let them in? How much more could I receive? And like you said, Anna, the letting go of control. The letting go of control is a big part of being successful in business, and letting the world in and letting yourself out into the world as well.
Yeah. And I think one part on the thing you said, especially with people working for you or working with, could also be business partners, whatever, is communication that is huge.
Yeah,
And again, this empowering people, like
that
trusting that your employees, your team, if it's too much, they will tell you.
Yes, that's trusting that. Yeah, it's like you say, that's also a big part of empowerment, that I'm not projecting on them what I think they can do or not do, but actually check with them. Hey, how are you doing? Is this too much? Like would you like to do more? And also shaking things up, like the out of control. Like there's companies, I don't remember like which one of the big companies, where after I don't know which company. Anyway, there's like people are only allowed to do the job that they do for 3 years. Then they either have to leave the job or change it up. And that's what I love, because any creative people, after a while, we get bored. We get
Mm-hmm.
bored doing the same thing. And I noticed this in my position as the business owner. I'm like, as long as I tried to control everything, I was so bored. I'm like, gosh. And things like started to get smaller. But then when I like, okay, how useless can I be in my own business?
Mm-hmm.
Then I started to receive the people that work for me and with me more. And I could do something else. I could, engage and do other things that I couldn't do before because I was busy with, doing details. And then I recently asked them, so, okay, so you've done this and this for a while. Now what? What would you like to do now?
Mm-hmm.
And they're so grateful to, oh, wait a second. Oh, yeah, I'd like to do more of this. I'd like to do that. And, it just changes everything up and keeps business as a moving, morphing entity rather than this is your position, this is what you do, this is what you do. Yeah, so there's so much to this. There's so much to this topic of like, how can you use your difference in and your craziness, your all over the placeness, in being successful in business, using it
Mm-hmm.
as a resource, expanding your business beyond what you can control,
Yeah.
having ease with money, allowing money to come in, working with people.
Yeah.
Like, all of these aspects are part of business done different,
Yeah.
which I love and I'm so grateful for. Yeah.
And I think also what's a big part for me is in the business done different classes that it's not only business,
Yeah. Now you cut out. It's not only business.
no, I'm back. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not only.
Um, it's not only business, but yeah, that there's not that, let's say, serious separation between, okay, 9 to 5 is business, then I'm allowed to have my life, like you were saying, just to be all over the place. And also, I don't know, if I'm out on a hike and I have an idea, I can also take 10 minutes to write it down and not be
Wow.
like, oh no, now I'm in leisure time.
Yes, that weird separation of people have free time,
Yeah.
business time, and then work until retirement. It's like you never really live. So it's basically your whole life is your business. Like when we were traveling the past weeks, through France and Italy and Germany, and it was so wonderful because we didn't do like classes also, but not as much as the rest of the year.
Mhm.
We went to the beach, we did horseback riding, we did yeah, all kinds of different adventures, found the Grand Canyon in France. We're like so, like all like super fun
Oh,
things. And it was so cool because like my judgment part of my mind was going, shouldn't you be doing like you've done like nothing normal business wise for this and this time? Shouldn't you be? And I'm like, like, who does this belong to? Is this even my point of view? And I'm like, so what is this creating? What is this like different way of creating my time creating? And I'm like, wow, this is productivity. Holy shit, this is productive. This is so much an investment into my future because it creates a different space for my life. It creates a different space for my body. And with that, it also creates a different space for all business and business related parts. Yeah.
and I think also the thing is that it's what just came into my mind, that it's sustainable. And
Yes.
to use that word, for example, I just talked to a friend here, and he has a great job and so on, but he's like totally burnt out from the responsibility, and he's now like on a vacation. He's been on vacation for 1 week already, and he's like, I'm still thinking about work. Like I'll
Yeah.
be in the ocean swimming, I'm thinking about work. So like,
Exactly.
it's like burning out, and then you need weeks to calm your body, your mind down, so to speak.
Yeah.
You
That. And
can't even enjoy the free time because
no, that's what so many people do. They're like, start, stop, start, stop. They're like full on,
yeah,
like in a car. How do you say, the fifth gear,
yeah,
going, 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 going,
yeah.
going, or they go eep and stop and nothing. But that's just crazy because if you just go, okay, what is it time for now? Fifth gear. Okay. Going fast, 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 fast. Okay, I think there's like a passage here where I might need to slow down a little bit, and then da da da, and your motor will not burn out, like your car
Hmm.
motor will not burn out. You have like you will have your car for a longer time than just going start, stop, start, stop. So it's the same with our lives and our bodies. It's if you know what's required, your whole life can be a dance. And you can, when you do business, it can have the space of swimming in the ocean and having vacation. When you are doing free time, you can still have ideas but not in a way that stresses you, just like in a way that enlivens you and go, oh my God, I would like to create this, da 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 da. It can just make you happy and turn on, and it, just totally different way of creating.
Yeah. Okay, so I could keep talking for hours about
Yes.
this, but there's so much in it. But yes.
Yeah, but we have this coming up. Sorry, this is the German one. It's supposed to be business done different in English.
International business done different.
It's an international business done different class. So I put it in the comments. It's we're gonna have a business done different class
With Susanna.
Yay! In July in Vienna and Online. Oh, that was the old class that I put on. And so the class will be 3 days. You don't need to have any prereqs. It's going to be in Vienna in the Pragmatic Psychology Center. Beautiful hedonistic city. You can also join us online, and it has a huge manual. There's recordings, and you can ask all your questions, like any question about anything that's about creation, money, working with people, working alone, whatever it is. You can and you don't have to have a business. You can also be employed and go, I would like to add a business. And even your employment can be a business if you allow it to be. Even that can work for you. I mean, I was employed, and I learned to use the tools, the business tools in my employment, and everything changed, So it's really a huge, 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 huge field. And I love these classes. They're so different than you think they are. And it makes business a playground of possibilities, and not a thing you have to do because you need the money, but because it's fun and you can get out into the world what you would like to invite people to with an enthusiasm and joy. Hence the joy of business.
Yes. Yeah, that's what it just popped into my mind, right? It's like business has this seriousness to it and is way more just creation, like creating.
Exactly. Awesome. So we're looking forward to you guys. If you have any questions, let us know, and have fun in your wonderful, Latin America still.
I'm in Mexico right now.
Mexico. Oh, wonderful. Enjoy Mexico, Anne.
I will. Bye. See you soon.
Bye-bye. Ta-da.